This guy is in a really playful mood today. Aren't you, Frankie? You're in a really playful mood. Super affectionate. Really don't want to leave this guy, but I've got to go to the coffee shop now and get to work. You've got to nap, don't you? Nap and poo and eat. There we go. He's very, very affectionate today, which is, it's not out of the ordinary, but I guess he's just in a very well-rested, well-fed, playful mood. Even managed to pick up a present for my fiance, as per her request, Tamagotchi. So I know that I usually eat meal number one pretty late in retrospect to when most people eat meal number one, but this is even late by my own standards. It's nearly 4 p.m. and only finally sitting down to eat now, but that's Fridays for you. Sometimes they get pretty chaotic. So yeah, 2 of these and 1 of these. And then it'll be, is that focus? Not sure if that's focusing. There we go. So 1 of those. And if you want these, I do have a discount code which will help me out if you use it. I've got that in the description of the video, so yeah. But time to dig into meal number 1, just the usual culprit on a training day, which is the rice cakes with the powdered peanut butter, the honey, and then the bowl of protein powder, cacao powder, flax, hemp, chia meal, honey, blueberries, and Greek yogurt. So yeah, wash that down with a decaf coffee and then diving back into work. But I will watch a little bit of something while I eat this. I've actually got a new show that I want to start, which is the Dexter Resurrection. So for any Dexter fans out there, and more specifically, any Dexter fans that were, like myself, disappointed in the last Dexter series that they created, not the original Sin, but the one before that, where they introduced Dexter's son growing up for the first time. I can't remember what it's called, but it was a terrible series. It was a disgrace. It shouldn't have happened. So I'm hoping that this series, Dexter Resurrection, redeems itself. I think it will. New Blood, that's what it was. Dexter New Blood. It was hands down probably the worst TV series I had watched for a long time. But this Dexter Resurrection does have good reviews, and it does have Dexter's son in it again, but apparently it's better. They don't butcher it, or they haven't butchered it at least. The thing that I didn't like about Dexter New Blood was the way that they kind of ended the season, and a couple of the kind of twists. I thought it was a bit cheesy. So yeah, hopefully Dexter Resurrection's better, but I'll watch Dexter Resurrection. It's on Amazon Prime for those of you who want to know. Right here. So I've watched a couple minutes of episode 1. Time to tune back into it. And then back into work. Alright, so the music is blaring in here tonight. I'll try to fix it up in post-production, but I can't promise anything. Very late. Normally, Taylor and I would be getting ready for bed in the next 5-10 minutes, and we would be asleep in the next 20 minutes. But today has not gone to plan, and we've still got to get training done. But in my opinion, if you are someone who takes your training seriously, you should not be training at night unless if you absolutely must due to your work schedule. Say you've got some weird hours and you have to train late at night. If you don't have to train late at night, if you have a choice and you value your training and your progress, I think training at night before bed is probably one of the worst things you could be doing, and you realistically should be making a habit of trying to get to sleep before 9 p.m. at night. I don't care if you're a morning person or a night person, but whether you're a night owl or a morning person, I think you can definitely train yourself to be a morning person. I'm not naturally a morning person, but I've trained myself to be a morning person. It takes work, takes effort, but it is doable. I used to have insomnia, but that's a topic for a discussion for another day. It's meant to be calves, chest, back, and shoulders tonight, but because we do want to get out of here and we're on a bit of time crunch, I might put shoulders on tomorrow's leg session. So just do calves, chest, and back to just kind of condense the training session. That way I can get it done quicker. Taylor and I can get home quicker. We can be done with the day quicker. So yeah. Anyway, first set of these. Oof. 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 Now, I could be wrong, but I believe the last time I did seated calf raises was actually 25 months ago during my post-contest rebound phase. Yeah, before Thailand. So I'm not too sure what a appropriate working weight would be for me on this, but I'm assuming 5 plates should be a rough approximation. I think I did about 5 or 6 plates pre-Thailand on this, so it should be around about that. I don't think I've really lost any strength on this movement because your soleus muscles in your calves are fuck off strong. They're very strong. Now, the reasoning behind why I'm reintegrating this into my training, and despite the fact that all the evidence-based fitness influencers out there say seated calf raises are obsolete, is you can think of it this way. The soleus muscle to your calves is what the brachialis muscle is to your biceps. It helps add more pop to the calf, like the brachialis adds more pop to the bicep, or more peak by adding additional mass behind the more cosmetic muscles in the arm. So same thing with the calf. The soleus muscle is predominantly slow twitch, so it has a lower affinity or a lower potential for growing than, say, the gastroc, which has more fast twitch fibers. And that is part of the argument as to why the evidence-based fitness community say seated calf raises are obsolete. You shouldn't do them because you're primarily targeting a muscle that is slow twitch in nature, which has a lower potential for growth than the gastroc in the calves, which has more fast twitch fibers and therefore a higher potential for growth. But the other part of their argument too is, well, you target both calf muscles in a calf raise variation where your knee is fully extended, standing calf raise, horizontal calf press like I just did. Therefore, you shouldn't do seated calf raises because when you bend the knee, you aren't able to recruit the gastroc, so you're only able to recruit the soleus muscle, which has a lower affinity or a lower potential for growing due to the slow twitch muscle fiber composition. But I would make the counter argument in the sense that if you want to add overall thickness and pop to your calves, building some additional size, even though it has a lower potential for growing, building some additional size on your soleus muscle is going to make that gastroc pop a little bit more. And the reality is, the gastroc, yes, and the soleus, yes, they both get stimulus in a straight leg or a fully knee extended calf raise variant, but the soleus doesn't get priority in that. It's just a secondary mover. To get priority, you need to disengage the gastroc. The only way you can do that is with a bent knee, so a seated calf raise. Even if it has a lower potential for growth because it's predominantly slow twitch, the soleus muscle makes up a larger percentage of the total muscle in your calves. If you were to say combine the total amount of muscle fibers and the total amount of muscle tissue in both calf muscles together, the larger percentage of that total musculature will be coming from the soleus muscle. So you tell me, does it really make much sense not having at least one specific exercise per week that directly targets the soleus? Me, it doesn't. It's more on me, so I'm adding it back in. That's basically the gist of it all. Maybe a little bit too heavy, but still count that set. I just found my calf. Must have left it here the other week. It was just on the floor over there. Oh, it's back in my bag where it belongs. 2 sets of these. Let's make them count. Really got 6 reps last week. Well, not last week. Last fortnight when I did this last. But for me, pressing always tanks when dieting, and I'm in a pretty aggressive deficit right now. So if I even get close to matching what I got, that will be a big achievement in itself. Hardest bit with this exercise is actually getting myself in like a secure, stable position. I feel like I had 1 or 2 more reps in the tank, but I just couldn't do it because my tailbone was pressing against the metal beam behind me. There was like a bolt in the metal beam. It was digging right into my tailbone. It was really painful. I'll give it another shot. I'm gonna try MacGyver this machine a little bit, and hopefully this fixes the issue. I've got some tailbone padding now. My only concern is it's going to force my hips too far forward that I won't be able to lean forward and get into a pec bias position. So have to see how it goes. That was definitely a better set. This will be a tricky one to beat this week. It was 11 reps last time at this weight, so almost got to butt the weight up. So yeah, 11 reps on set 1 last time, so aiming for at least 11, hopefully 12. One thing that I do find is, even when dieting, my back training tends to get stronger, especially my bodyweight back training, which is a surprise. I mean, it's a bit of a no-brainer. You're getting lighter, so your power to weight ratio is going to improve, and a lot of the time it can actually outpace the performance drop-off that you get from the actual calorie deficit. So you might find that deep into a deficit dieting phase, you'll still progress on things like pull-ups and even sometimes push-ups if you're lucky. Whereas heavy presses is another story, and heavy rows, another story as well. One rep up. It's a bit sloppy. Mind you, I don't know if I should really count it, but I will, because I'm dieting. If I wasn't dieting, I wouldn't count that. It was the same reps as last week, but I don't know if I can count that last rep. It's pretty short, full contraction. But I did rest a little bit less, so perhaps that's why. I'll just say that I matched last week's. I'll give myself that 10th rep. Yeah, definitely feeling the deficit now. Now I'm not even going to look at my logbook from the last session I did this, just to see, kind of test how much of a little bitch I'm right now in the deficit, because if you're a little bitch, you'll call it before the set's done, but if you're not, you'll usually match what you got last time, just purely based on going to the perceived level of effort required. So I'll see how this set goes. Let's see how close I was. That was 8 reps ago. Oh, would you look at that? That's what I got last time. Okay. One set of torso shrugs, as close to failure as I can get without wrecking myself. And that will conclude this session. Torso shrugs, you always want to go with a neutral grip because you can get a little bit more scap elevation when you do that. And you want to get retraction and a bit of elevation at the top of each shrug when you're doing torso shrugs. It is a shrug after all. Still a vertical shrug, but in a slight horizontal plane. There we go.